The world is quiet before the wind wakes it. Ridgelines stretch like black bones under a bruised sky. The only light comes from a ranger truck winding through a narrow road, its beams cutting swirls of snow. Ranger Elias drives alone. A thermos of coffee trembles in the cup holder. Beside it sits an old photograph. A woman and a little boy smiling in front of a cabin. He glances at it for half a second too long. The tires catch a patch of ice. The truck fishtails. He corrects sharply, breath ragged. Elias, muttering, "Easy, easy, Hale. Focus." The radio crackles, static followed by a calm female voice. "Dispatch. Ranger Hale, status check. You're entering North Point jurisdiction. Copy?" Elias. "Copy that, Control. Approaching mile marker 38. Weather's turning. Dispatch. Stay on the south route. The North Ridge is still unstable after the quake." Elias. "Understood." He hesitates, looks up toward the North Ridge, a jagged silhouette wrapped in fog. The mountains seem to breathe. The station at North Point is half buried in snow. Its generator hums weakly. Only one other ranger, Supervisor Marie Whitlock, is awake, flipping through a stack of outdated topographic maps. She greets him with a tired smile. "Marie, you really took this post?" Elias. "Needed quiet work. No tourists, no fires." Marie. "Careful what you wish for. Up here, quiet doesn't mean safe." She spreads the map across the table, red markings showing a recent landslide. Marie. "We lost an old avalanche shelter in that quake. Government issue bunker from the 60s. There's talk of chemical storage. HQ wants a visual inspection." Elias. "Why me?" Marie. "Because you don't scare easy. Or so they say." He half smiles, takes the assignment sheet and a small field camera. As he heads out, she calls after him. Marie. "Hey, if you see lights up there, don't stop. Locals still talk about old mining tunnels. Half of them aren't mapped." Elias, dryly. "Good thing I like surprises." Elias hikes the frozen trail. His breath clouds. Snow crunches under boots. The forest here is ancient, trees gnarled and leaning as if the mountain tried to push them out. He records voice notes into his radio mic. Elias, into recorder. Trail 9B partially collapsed. Animal tracks present. Elk, maybe wolf. Continuing north. Visibility low. A crow lands on a branch ahead, cawing once. Then another. Then silence. The stillness feels weighted. He pauses, from somewhere deeper in the trees. A faint metallic clink. He raises his binoculars. Something flashes under the snow 50 yards ahead. A vent, circular, breathing faint heat into the air. Elias, into Mike. "Control, found what looks like a heat vent off the old shelter grid. Coordinates incoming. Dispatch, static." "Say again, Ranger Hale. Your signals." Static swallows the rest. He exhales sharply, frowning. His compass needle spins erratically. By sunset, he reaches the cliffside. A rock face juts out at an angle like a broken tooth. Buried beneath a drift of snow is a steel hatch, old but reinforced with newer bolts. He brushes frost from a faded stencil on the metal. Elias crouches. Someone recently scraped the lock clean. A boot print half melted into the ice nearby. He radios again. Elias. "Control, visual on the hatch. It's been disturbed. Do we have anyone logged in this sector?" Dispatch, static. "No record. Hold position. Repeat, hold." The feed cuts out. He looks up. The wind stops. Utter silence. Snowflakes hang motionless for half a second, then tumble again. Elias exhales slowly, grounding himself. He takes out a crowbar, hesitating before wedging it under the handle. The hatch gives way, exhaling a long breath of warm metallic air. He shines his flashlight downward. A staircase carved into the stone spirals deep underground. Each step echoes louder than the last. Rust streaks the walls like dried blood. His flashlight beam glides over old hazard signs, cracked glass gauges, and decades of dust. He stops beside a corroded generator, long dead. At the far end of the corridor, a door slightly ajar, faint light leaking through. He pushes it open. The room beyond looks like a research lab abandoned mid-project. Tables overturned. Clipboards scattered. On one wall, a chalk diagram, concentric circles labeled acoustic testing chamber. Elias lifts a paper from the floor. A lab memo dated 1974. If the readings are correct, resonance patterns below 8 Hz can trigger mass hallucination. Recommend termination of project until seismic correlation is understood. He lowers the paper, unease creeping in. A low hum vibrates the air, not electrical, more like the sound of a throat humming in the dark. The lights flicker once, then steady again. He turns toward the sound. There, at the far wall, a metal grate pulses faintly with warmth, as if air moves behind it. He kneels. The hum grows louder, forming into words. It sounds like his name. Voice. Distorted whispering. Elias. He freezes, flashlight trembling. Elias. Quiet. Who's there? No response. Just the echo of his own voice repeating back, milliseconds late, mimicking the same tone. He backs away slowly, heart hammering. Then the overhead lights flicker again, revealing fresh handprints in the dust, leading deeper into the tunnel. He follows with hesitant steps. Hours later, he emerges from the hatch, snow now falling harder. He seals the door shut and stands in the biting wind. His breathing is sharp. He looks at his gloved hands, trembling. In the distance, thunder rolls again. But it isn't thunder. It's something moving beneath the mountain. He grabs his radio. Elias. Control. I found the shelter. It's not abandoned. There's static. Copy? Do you read? Long pause. Elias. His name again. Same cadence. Same voice. Coming from the radio. He stares into the storm. A storm smothers the mountains in silence. The power flickers inside the small wooden ranger cabin. Elias sits at the desk, headphones on, reviewing the recorded audio from last night. Wind. Static. And then, faintly, the whisper. Elias, stay. He rewinds again. Same word, same pitch. Too perfect to be an echo. Elias, murmuring to himself. It's not playback delay. It's responsive. He glances toward the window. Fog presses against the glass like a living thing. Marie Whitlock, his supervisor, enters holding a mug of black coffee. She looks half awake, but instantly senses something off. Marie. You were up all night, weren't you? Elias. You ever hear of anything buried under Ridge 7? Marie. Old military storage. Mines, maybe. No one's gone up there in years. Why? Elias. Because something down there's still powered, still breathing. Marie frowns. Marie. You're sure you didn't imagine it? Thin air can make the brain hum like a radio sometimes. Elias, quietly. Then why does it know my name? She freezes, sets the mug down carefully, as if afraid to make noise. Elias sifts through boxes of old logbooks. Dust rises like ghosts in the air. He finds a folder stamped, Project Hollow Sky, 1973 to 1975. Inside, faded photos of men in ranger uniforms beside concrete structures. A typed memo reads, Geological resonance testing authorized under federal contract. Objective, measure subterranean frequencies capable of producing acoustic mirages and seismic instability. He flips the page. Attached, a map overlay matching Ridge 7 exactly. He leans closer. In the bottom corner, someone scrawled by hand, if they wake, close the door. Elias sits back, pulse climbing. Outside, thunder grumbles through the snow. He returns to the trail with heavier gear, a camera drone, a new recorder, and a flare gun. Wind howls, carrying voices that seem almost shaped by words. He climbs toward the hatch again, snow biting at his cheeks. Halfway up the slope, he stops. There are footprints beside his own from yesterday. Smaller, bare, fresh. He kneels, tracing the indent with a gloved finger. The edges haven't frozen yet. Someone else is on the mountain, or something. The metal door groans open. The air inside is warmer now, like the mountain exhales heat. His flashlight scans the same walls, but the dust has shifted. The old handprints are smudged. Footprints lead deeper. He starts recording again. Elias, into recorder. Re-entered structure. Signs of recent activity. The resonance hum continues. Frequency appears constant. Temperature rising. He descends a new corridor branching off the main one. The air grows thick, the hum more distinct, almost melodic. POV shot. A long hallway of sealed doors, each labeled with a number. C1. C2. C3. All welded shut, except the last one. It's cracked open, light seeping through. Inside is a monitoring chamber, still partially powered. Old computers hum faintly, LEDs blinking like artificial heartbeats. He brushes dust off a control panel. A single label reads, Acoustic Simulation Live Feed. He flips a switch. The speakers emit a low, trembling frequency, deep enough to vibrate the bones in his chest. The metal walls seem to breathe. Then, another voice overlays the hum, soft, familiar. Voice, female echoing. Eli, don't go deeper. His blood runs cold. That voice. It's his wife, Anna, dead for 3 years. He stumbles back, shaking his head. Elias, whispering, No, that's not possible. Voice, continuing identical. You said you'd stay home. You promised. He shuts the system off with trembling hands. The sound cuts instantly. Only his breathing remains, ragged, fast. He rushes toward the exit, but halfway up the stairs, the radio clicks on by itself. Radio, his own voice. Control, this is Ranger Hale. Entering secondary chamber now. He stops. That's his voice from 10 minutes ago. The feed continues on its own, describing his every movement as it happens. Radio. Lights flickering. Hum increasing. Possible psychological interference. The real Elias whispers into his own mic. Elias, who's transmitting that? The radio answers instantly. Same tone, same cadence. Radio. Who's transmitting that? He freezes. Echo. Mimic. Mirror. His flashlight flickers. Something moves at the base of the stairs. Tall, thin, half-human. Its head tilts in sync with his perfectly, like watching its reflection stand up on its own. Elias drops the radio and bolts for the hatch. He bursts into the open air again, snow slashing sideways. Behind him, the metal hatch slams shut on its own. A loud clang echoes across the mountains. He falls to his knees, gasping. From somewhere inside the wind, a voice calls out softly. Again, Anna's voice. Voice, distant, gentle. Eli, please come back down. It's not finished. He turns. The wind carries nothing but snow now. Elias returns to the station soaked and pale. Marie looks up from her desk, startled. Marie, you're frozen. What happened? Elias, that shelter, it's not a shelter. It's a transmitter, or a memory. I heard Anna. Marie, carefully. Your wife passed away, Elias. Elias. I know what I heard. He slams the folder on the desk, Project Hollow Sky, and points to the line. Elias, resonance patterns trigger hallucination. They built a machine that can record and replay human frequencies. Voices, maybe consciousness. Marie. That's impossible. Elias, quietly. So is hearing her say my name. The lights flicker. The radio on the wall sputters to life, unprompted. Radio. Anna's voice. If they wake, close the door. Marie's eyes widen. For a full 10 seconds, neither of them breathes. Then the radio goes dead. Snowfall eases. The mountain gleams gold under early sunlight. From above, the ridge looks undisturbed. But beneath the surface, faintly visible through melting ice, something moves behind the sealed hatch. Like a pulse. Snow falls softer now, the kind that mutes sound completely. Inside the dim cabin, Elias and Marie huddle over the last working radio console. Static hums like a heartbeat. Marie, if that shelter was some kind of transmitter, there's got to be records. Maintenance logs, access codes, something. Elias. I searched the archives. Half the pages were burned. Someone didn't want this remembered. He flips open a torn field log marked Site Technician number 04. The handwriting grows more frantic with every entry. Frequency stable at 7.9 Hz. Human mimicry increasing in precision. Operator 4 terminated after vocal contamination. Elias underlines the last line. Elias. Vocal contamination. Whatever they built down there learned by listening. Marie rubs her temples, half in disbelief. Marie. You're saying it mimics voices? Like records them? Elias. Records, replays, maybe inhabits. He looks toward the window, toward the ridge, where snow whirls like ash. They gear up again, silence between them heavy with unspoken fear. Marie insists on coming. Elias doesn't argue. Marie. If you're right, that thing's a safety hazard. If not, you'll have company for your breakdown. Elias, grim smile. I'll take either. They hike through blinding wind. Halfway up, Marie stops. Marie, listen. The air stills. Faintly. Beneath the wind, a hum. It rises and falls, steady as breathing. Elias, it's awake. The hatch opens with a metallic shriek. Their flashlights slice through dust and shadows. The hum fills the tunnel, rhythmic, almost mechanical. They move cautiously past the sealed doors. C1, C2, C3, until they reach C4, where the frequency originated. Marie examines the walls. Marie, look at this. These aren't cracks. They're speakers. Elias. Built into the rock. The mountain itself was part of the experiment. He flips a switch on the panel. Lights hum to life across the ceiling, illuminating something massive behind glass. A spherical chamber sunk deep into the stone. Inside, a lattice of cables and bone-white tubing pulsates faintly, like a sleeping lung. Marie, softly. That's not machinery. Elias. It's both. A speaker pops. A whisper leaks through. Voice, his wife, Anna. You came back. Elias, to himself. No. You're not her. Voice. You said I'd be proud of you when you finished the job. He slams the console. The sound cuts. The hum drops an octave, vibrating the floor. Marie studies the remaining power systems. Marie. There's a main control. We could shut this down permanently. Elias. And if it's self-sustaining? Marie. Then we seal it for good. She pulls open a maintenance drawer, finds a small data reel labeled Test Recording, Session 12. She loads it into the old player. A grainy male voice begins, calm and official. Recording. Session 12. Operator Hale. Commencing Phase 3. Vocal imprint stable. Subject response identical. Elias freezes. His blood drains cold. Marie. Hale? Elias. Quiet. My grandfather worked for the Geological Survey. Recording. Continuing. If this transference holds, we may have proven that memory can inhabit frequency. The audio warps into static, then a long, breathy imitation of his name. Recording. Elias. He shuts it off. Elias, whispering. It's copying generations. Marie looks at him, shaken. Marie. So what's it trying to finish? Elias. Whatever he started. They prepare to overload the old generator. Marie connects wires from her flare gun battery to the power coil. Marie. Once this goes, we'll have 30 seconds to get out. Elias. You ever blown up government property before? Marie. Once. Thanksgiving 2008. Deep fryer accident. He almost laughs. It feels human again for a breath. Then the hum shifts pitch, no longer mechanical. Voices fill the tunnel, dozens of them, overlapping in whispers. Some sound like hikers. Others, rangers. One sounds like Marie. Voice, her own. Don't go. Don't go. Her face pales. Marie. It's using us. Elias. Ignore it. A loud clang echoes behind them. The hatch has slammed shut. Elias runs to pry it open, but it won't budge. Elias. It's locking us in. The whispers swell, layering like a storm of language. Somewhere beyond the glass, the cables inside the spherical chamber begin to move. Slow, serpentine, almost organic. The frequency climbs higher. Lights explode in showers of sparks. Marie fires the flare into the control panel. Boom! The tunnel shakes violently. Elias grabs her hand, pulling toward the stairs. They burst out into the open air as a roar bellows from beneath the ground. Snow erupts upward like geysers. The entire slope trembles, and a low red glow pulses beneath the ice. They dive behind a fallen pine as the hatch door blasts open, not from the explosion but from pressure within. A column of warm air shoots skyward, carrying with it faint, distorted voices that dissipate into the storm. Then silence. Elias stares, breathing hard. Marie. You think it's over? Elias. Things like that don't end. They just change shape. They both watch as the red glow fades, leaving only untouched snow. No crater. No sign of a blast. Like the mountain had swallowed everything again. Marie dozes in a chair, bruised but alive. Elias sits across from her, staring at the radio on the desk. It's quiet. He reaches into his coat pocket, pulls out the old photograph of Anna and their son. He sets it gently beside the radio. For a long time, there's nothing. Then, faintly, radio, static. Elias. He closes his eyes. Elias, softly. Not this time. He pulls the plug. The radio dies. Sunlight breaks through clouds for the first time in weeks. The mountain stands silent, snow glittering like glass. Elias hikes to the edge of the ridge, dropping a new warning sign into the snow. Area closed. Unstable terrain. Below it, smaller text. If the wind hums, turn back. He drives the post into the ground. The camera pans upward. Far above the ridge, the wind stirs once, faint but harmonic, almost like a voice exhaling in relief. The North Point Ridge sector was permanently sealed in 2023. The geological shelter remains unlisted on all federal maps. Ranger Elias Hale transferred to Lowland Patrol later that year. No further audio transmissions were ever received. 2 months pass. Snow recedes in thin ribbons across the mountain, exposing the dark soil beneath. Rivers run again, fast, cold, and loud. The forest smells like thawed pine and old rain. Ranger Elias Hale returns to North Point Ridge with a new assignment: survey seasonal runoff damage. He carries lighter gear now. No sidearm, no recording equipment, just a weather meter and a camera. His hair is longer, his shoulders a little stooped. The place feels different, and yet the same. The silence that once pressed like a weight now feels like space, waiting to be filled with something living again. He parks the truck at the base trail. As he steps out, the air seems to recognize him. Inside the derelict cabin near the ridge, sunlight streaks through broken shutters. Dust motes float like ash. The logbooks still lie where he and Marie left them. He sets his pack down and opens a fresh field journal. New cover, same handwriting. Elias writing aloud. April 16th, North Point Ridge. Temperature 38 degrees. Snow depth decreasing. No seismic anomalies detected. The mountain is quiet. He pauses, tapping the pen against his lip. Adds a line below. Still listening. He closes the book gently. Elias hikes higher until the slope flattens into a wind-swept plateau. The metal hatch is gone, buried completely by rockfall and snowmelt. Nature closed it better than any human could. He kneels beside the spot, brushing away loose gravel. The surface hums faintly beneath his palm. Not a threat this time, more like the vibration of wind through stone. He speaks softly, like one would at a grave. Elias, if you're still down there, rest. You've had enough time speaking for others. The mountain doesn't answer, but the air shifts. A warm breeze slides across his face, gentle, like an exhale. He almost smiles. Back in the city, Elias stands in front of a historian from the U.S. Geological Survey, Dr. Lenore Mendez. She examines the battered Project Hollow Sky folder he turned in. Mendez, you realize if this is authentic, it predates the Department of Energy by a decade. These notes, this was cognitive resonance theory, fringe even by Cold War standards. Elias nods slowly. Elias, whatever they were testing, they proved one thing. Mendez, what's that? Elias, that the Earth remembers sound. Every vibration leaves a ghost. Mendez looks at him, uncertain if he's speaking metaphor or fact. He doesn't clarify. Elias's apartment is sparse. One small photo of Anna and their son sits by the window. A new shortwave radio rests on the table, unplugged. He hasn't touched it since that night. He lights a single candle, old habit from nights alone on the ridge. The room glows amber, reflecting on the glass. Outside, distant thunder murmurs over the plains. He stares at the photo and speaks quietly. Elias, you were right. Some things shouldn't be finished. Some should just be let go. He blows out the candle. Darkness folds the room into silence. For a moment, that silence feels complete. Then, faintly, from the unplugged radio, comes a single pulse of static. Not words, just one low hum, like the mountain breathing again. Then it's gone. He doesn't flinch this time. He only whispers, Elias, good night. Months later, the ridge is alive with sound, wind, water, insects. New seedlings push through the thawed earth. The warning sign Elias posted still stands, though half buried in wildflowers. A young pair of hikers pause beside it. One reads aloud, Hiker, area closed, unstable terrain. If the wind hums, turn back. Grins, creepy. Think it's real? Friend, probably just old ranger folklore. They laugh and move on. The camera lingers on the sign, then tilts upward to the ridge. Far above, the wind picks up long, low, and harmonic. Not human, not dangerous. Just alive. Audio frequencies recorded in 1974 remain unexplained. North Point Ridge has since been declared a restricted preservation zone. Local rangers refer to it simply as the quiet place. A drone camera feeds from a later survey flickers on a monitor. The operator zooms in on the ridge face, pure stone and ice. As the image stabilizes, faint lines emerge. A door-shaped outline, nearly erased by erosion. Just before the feed cuts, a pulse of light flickers behind it, brief, rhythmic, like a heartbeat.